Good Sunday morning. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Chrissy Kohler bringing you the latest update on Tropical Storm Debby, sitting off the west coast of Florida there in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's expected to continue to strengthen throughout the day today, becoming a hurricane later today into the overnight hours. Category 1 hurricane expected at landfall tomorrow along the Big Bend of Florida about midday, late morning, or about midday is when that's expected to make landfall. And then it slowly meanders through South Georgia as we head through the later part of Monday and into Tuesday, weakening to a tropical storm as it moves over land. But from here, there's a lot of variability in this potential track. You'll notice that cone, that tells us where the potential center of circulation can track. And you'll notice that's a wide area that we're talking about. A further easterly track sends that out over the Atlantic Ocean. That would mean the potential is there that this could strengthen a little bit as it works with some of those warmer waters of the Atlantic Ocean before moving back on shore in South Carolina as a tropical storm, but possibly a stronger tropical storm. If it stays over land and takes more of a westerly track, that would spell a weaker storm, but higher impacts for us here into the upstate, bringing us a better chance for some of those heavy tropical rains. So a lot of variability here in the forecast. What I do want to note, though, is look at these impacts here. We're starting to see that rain there on Tuesday here and Monday, possibly in parts of the low country in the Palmetto State. And this system doesn't really get out of our way until we get into the day on Friday, finally making a move closer in towards North Carolina. A lot of variability again still in this track. There's a lot of uncertainty really once it makes that landfall where this is going to be headed. You can see the spaghetti models kind of all over the place. Again, that further westerly track creates a weaker storm but higher rainfall impacts for the upstate. That further easterly track sends that back over water into the Atlantic Ocean and potentially a stronger storm with a drier forecast actually for the upstate. In terms of our tropical alerts, you can see the entire coast of Florida, anywhere from a tropical storm warning to that hurricane warning there in the Big Bend of Florida where it's expected to make landfall tomorrow. For the Palmetto State, we're looking at a tropical storm watch right now from Charleston all the way down to Savannah. I do expect that to be expanded into the Grand Strand later on today as we get a little bit further out in time, closer to the time that that would be impacting the Grand Strand. Those are typically issued about 48 hours out from the potential impacts. But if you have property along the coast of South Carolina or down into Georgia, you need to be headed down there to protect your property, make sure that everything is in place. We are looking at a significant amount of rain and potential for flooding. This could potentially rival what parts of the coast saw during Hurricane Matthew in 2016. Not going to be as much rainfall as what we saw with the historic flooding in 2015. That was more so in the 15 to 20 inch range, but we are potentially rivaling Matthew with this. So this is potentially historic rainfall for parts of the coast there. Charleston could see as much as 11 inches of rain. Myrtle Beach, upwards of 8 inches of rain. Even Columbia, possibly 5 inches of rain. Now keep in mind, this is just one set of data, but it's possible that we could be talking about anywhere up to around 10 to 12 inches of rain through parts of the low country and even parts of the Grand Strand as well. Now you'll notice the upstate, a lot less than that. We're looking at less than an inch for most of the upstate here, less than half an inch into the mountains. But again, I want to remind you that that changes drastically if this system tracks further inland and further to the west and tracks closer, that center of circulation tracks closer to our area. That spells a lot more rain for us. So there's still a lot of variability in this forecast here. So you kind of have to hurry up and wait with this system. Here's a look at our short range models giving us that data that kind of honed in on what we expect here come Monday morning. This is a little fast, I think, on the landfall, but it brings it in about early morning, 8 a.m. into the coast of, into the Big Bend of Florida there, with those showers and thunderstorms, those outer bands starting to impact parts of the low country of South Carolina by about 1 o'clock on Monday. And that's where it really starts to get going, where this continues to slowly move up to the northeast here. So Tuesday morning, we're dealing with heavy rains along the coast, back into the Midlands as well. But you'll notice the upstate, fairly dry, just a couple isolated showers there. Tuesday, still seeing that heavy rain throughout the day with that center of, this particular set of data takes that center of circulation out over the Atlantic Ocean, and that spells heavier rainfalls for parts of the coast there. Now, this is a different set of data. This is a longer range. It goes out further in time. What you'll see here is this is more of that midday landfall with this particular system there, that Debby moving onshore around the Big Bend around midday on Monday. But you can see some of that rain already starting across the upstate or across the coast there. And then as we head towards Tuesday morning, this one tracks a little further inland, taking that center of circulation and keeping it over land instead of shooting it out into the Atlantic Ocean off the south coast of Florida, or excuse me, of Georgia. And that would spell, again, the better chance for some heavyweight there. So this particular set of data shows, again, throughout the day on Tuesday, we could be looking at some heavy downpours across parts of the upstate, and of course still that heavy rain down at the coast. This does keep that rain chance in our forecast for Wednesday, this particular set of data, as well as that heavy rain down at the coastline, and then finally starts to dry out the Palmetto State as we look ahead towards Friday morning. So again, a lot of questions in here that you need to be staying up to date on. We get these updates every 6 hours in terms of a track update. We get intermediate updates about every 3 hours on just a location on the storm. But of course, the First Alert Weather Team will continue to keep you updated on everything that you need to know and how this is going to impact us here in the upstate and the mountains, as well as any potential interest that you may have, you and your families may have down at the coastline. So stay tuned right here to your First Alert Weather Team.